Next game up, Florida at A&M, 7 Eastern, ESPN. Florida is very much so alive. All right, the conversation around Billy Napier's job security got to wait another week, but Florida, they are alive. Big win over Texas. Vibes should be back on and popping in Gainesville. DJ Lagway looked how you hoped he would look if you said good things about him in the preseason. We were one of those people. Now you go to A&M. Now you go play a team that I think it's very fair to say they're the most complete team in the SEC. They're running hot right now. Had a big second half against Mississippi State offensively. But Florida now, you'd hope is a little different level of swagger for the Gators walking into this spot. I hope there's a little bit extra pep in the step. Is that the case, though? Remains to be seen. Now for A&M, I think they know enough to know they're walking into a street fight here. I think they understand what they just saw on tape against Texas from Florida. Like, Florida won that game because they bullied Texas up front. So if I'm Mike Elko, there shouldn't be any extra sense of urgency I have to create for my football team. Like, yeah, you're undefeated, that's great, but that team just beat Texas at their place. It's no guessing what they're capable of. Like, before, I think playing Florida, if you're a head coach, you're trying to sell your team on what Florida can be. Hey, Lagway's talented. Hey, that line of scrimmage, I know they didn't look like it against Miami, but, like, that's a good football team. You just saw it. You just saw it firsthand on tape. All week long, you're watching that. So Texas drew the short end of the stick against Florida. A&M, I think they are going to be better in this spot because of that. Does it matter? Because with Florida playing that way, with the way they played against Texas, I don't think it matters what you bring if you're A&M. And the reason why, like, if you're Florida, you ran the football at a high level. That is the first thing I'm talking about with Florida, man. Isn't it crazy what happens when you commit to the run game? I don't think it's any coincidence that DJ Lagway had his best performance of the season with Jaden Bogg getting 27 carries. 27 carries for over 100 yards on the day, and DJ Lagway averaged 10 yards a pass. Coincidence? I think not. So for Florida here, we got to commit to the run game, man. And it might get boring. It might be slow sledding at the beginning of this whole thing, or whatever the expression is there, tough sledding at the beginning of this thing, but we got to commit to it. Because as good as A&M is offensively, if you're having 3 and outs and it's just, threw the ball twice, ran it once, and we took 45 seconds off the clock, ball is back to A&M with Marcel Reed and those weapons, it's going to be a tough day. So for A&M, man, you got to be able to stop the run a little bit here too. At least enough to force them into some third and passing, if you will. So you earn the right, if you're Florida, to push the ball downfield by how you run the ball. Okay? Dallas Wilson, not a secret anymore. If you watch this show, we were high on him before the year. We just weren't sure when he was going to actually play a football game. He did last week and was a massive difference maker for the Gators. A&M now is not sneaking up on you. Him, Sturdivant, there's a collection of weapons, and when Florida plays complementary offense, all bets are off. So for A&M, the key is don't allow that to be the case. Get stops on first and second down, obvious passing, advantage A&M. If not, advantage Florida. The thing with A&M, though, to stop Florida from doing that, you got to bring something downhill against that run game. You got to match physicality with physicality. This is the Torian York game for A&M. Torian York might be the best NFL football player that's going to play in this game. He's got to be filling holes, bad intentions. You got to be the one that flips the game plan for Florida early on and says, hey, you know what? We'd like to run the ball, but Torian York is just too much of a dog in the middle of that defense. Like, we gotta find something else. Perimeter, I don't know. We got to find something else to attack, other areas of the field to attack to win this football game. DJ Lagway can't hurt you downfield if they can't run the ball. Pretty straightforward there for me. Now for A&M, you got to start fast, man. Because the most dangerous thing with Florida is belief. And if you can take away that belief from the jump on the road for that Gator football team, advantage A&M every single time. Now, the unfortunate thing for A&M is they have not started fast. The last couple of games, that is. They're averaging 5 points the last 3 games in the first quarter. So keep an eye on the first quarter under here if you're betting this one. There's got to be something in the run game here. Same thing we said with Florida. Same thing with A&M offensively. There's got to be something in the run game to demand attention in the box to get your guys loose downfield. Like, I wouldn't be shocked in the slightest here if Colin Klein understands the spot they're walking into, understands the confidence that Florida's bringing into this game. He says, you know what, we got to take that away early. We're taking daddy hacks off the top here. Mario Craver, Casey Concepcion, play action, take a shot, man. If you hit on one of those deep early, the entire playbook is open to you. Because then, guess what? You probably have a little bit more attention on the back end, which means you have less attention on that front seven, which means better numbers for Le'Veon Moss and Reuben Owens. A&M did not run for 300 yards last week against Mississippi State on accident. It was not something they just backdoored into. It was intentional. And so they're going to make a point to run the football, but if they can hit something early in this game for Colin Klein and Marcel Reed, then things get very, very interesting for the Florida side, because then Florida probably has to be a little bit more urgent with how they throw the football downfield. And Florida being one-dimensional on offense, advantage A&M every single time. Now, I will say, I think Marcel Reed, we need that mobility factor here from your brother. Need that Marcel magician game, if you will. I don't think he needs to run for 100 yards, but I do have visions of Arch Manning being harassed by that Florida front seven, and I'd be very surprised if we didn't see Florida at least have some carryover from that game to this game and apply something to Marcel Reed. I don't need Marcel Reed to have a highlight play every other play, but I do need him to get us out of trouble and at the very least take a negative play, make a neutral play. Like, I know we talk about the things he does off script and the way that he hits guys downfield and all those things. That's great. I'm here for that. Probably need some of that in this game. But I would be very curious to see how many sacks Florida gets in this game. Because if it's less than 3, I think you go back and watch this thing and say, wow, Marcel Reed did a lot of things getting us out of trouble, getting us to 2nd and 10 as opposed to 2nd and 17, which is a much more livable down and distance. So my question for Florida as it pertains to what they're doing in the front seven outside of getting after Marcel Reed, I'm curious where this game is at in the second half. Like, if it's 17-10 coming out and A&M's up by a touchdown, are you physically up for the task of what that A&M running game is going to be? Because we just played Texas pretty tough for Florida. Like, I would imagine there was a pretty crowded training room this past week for the Gators. Probably Normatec boots being worn, a lot of ice baths being taken. That's life in the SEC. It's a lot of physical line of scrimmage play every single weekend. But are you up for what Texas A&M is going to bring here, Florida? Are you up for the fresh legs of a Moss and a Owens and Marcel Reed, like all those things? Are you up for that task? Because that's going to be the difference in this game. If Florida's up for that task in the second half, this gets interesting late. But if not, I could see a world where A&M pushes the throttle down a little bit too much, and Florida physically just isn't able to have the physical output to match them. In line with that, this A&M offense, much talk about momentum being big for Florida, this A&M offense thrives off momentum. Like, we saw them against Mississippi State connect on a couple early. I say a couple early. A couple at the end of the first half, and that changed the entire trajectory of how Marcel Reed played the rest of the game. Like, if Marcel Reed gets the chance to settle in Florida, bad deal. Very, very bad deal. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, period. But when he gets comfortable, when he's not double clutching it and looking jittery out there and jumpy out there, bad things happen for your team. So if you can speed him up, if you can make it a thing where he's pressing, advantage you every single time. The way you do that, though, shut down the run game early, get after Marcel Reed early, advantage Florida. So on the back end now for Florida, understand you're going to have to kind of weather the storm here. A&M is going to continue to take deep shots throughout the entirety of the game. They are number 16 in America when it comes to yards per pass. You got to be up for the task. Even if you get got a couple times, you got to just stay the course here. Got to stay the course and can't overcommit any stretch in this game and get yourself into a hole where, hey, we tried to rush the passer and try to get a little bit too aggressive there. We brought extra numbers. Craver's too fast to do that. Concepcion's too good downfield to do that, and Marcel Reed's too composed for that to be the world you live in. So my take on this game is I think Florida kind of emptied the clip a little bit last week against Texas. I think it was an emotional high. I think that it was the win they had been searching for to this point in the year. There's belief for Florida internally, but I think that A&M is too battle-tested to drop this one at home. Now, that spread makes me nervous, but I think A&M is too talented for Florida. I think there's too many ways for Florida to maybe lose this game. So I'll take A&M. Final score in College Station, A&M wins, A&M covers. Final score 24-16. Aggies get it done.